Welcome back, Master Wealth viewers. Vanguard ETFs have earned a solid reputation for their impressive performance and low expense ratios. In today's video, we're focusing on 3 Vanguard ETFs that consistently dominate investment discussions: VTI, VOO, and VGT. However, a surprising mistake often goes unnoticed by investors in these ETFs. We're here to break down the issue and, more importantly, offer solutions. But before we dive in, let's perform a quick self-assessment. Imagine you're planning to invest in Vanguard's ETFs. You decide to allocate 1/3 of your investments into each of these 3 ETFs: VTI, VOO, and VGT. Each of these ETFs holds a substantial number of stocks, and it might appear that you've created a well-diversified portfolio. However, here's where the common mistake occurs. Despite the multitude of stocks these ETFs hold, more than 11% of your portfolio is concentrated in a single company: Apple. Yes, you heard that right. Apple has a significant presence in all 3 of these ETFs. So, the mere quantity of stocks in an ETF doesn't guarantee diversification. You need to delve deeper into the holdings and their respective weights. Understanding fund overlap is essential. To perform this analysis, we're using etfrc.com and their handy fund overlap tool. First, let's examine the overlap between VTI and VOO. Unsurprisingly, we discover that 99.4% of VOO's holdings are already present in VTI. The overlap by weight reveals that VTI and VOO are approximately 86% the same fund. When assessing the remainder, you find a difference in weights among the top 500 or so holdings, while the vast majority of the remaining 3,000 plus holdings hardly contribute to diversification. Investing in both VTI and VOO essentially means investing in about 86% of the same assets. But what about VGT? This Vanguard Information Technology Index ETF has a 98% of its holdings already present in VTI. However, the overlap by weight is a relatively lower 26%. When comparing VGT to VOO, we find that about 21% of VT's holdings exist in VOO, with an overlap by weight of 28%. The detailed analysis reveals that although VTI and VOO share more holdings, the overlap by weight is lower than that of VGT with VOO. Now, you might be wondering, what does all this mean? The key takeaway here is that you should always be aware of how much overlap your ETFs have with each other. This awareness is crucial for building a diversified and resilient portfolio. It allows you to make informed decisions about whether it's worth investing in multiple ETFs with such a high degree of overlap. Remember, 86% similarity between 2 funds might not provide the diversification you're seeking. It's essential to assess your holdings with a critical eye to optimize your investment strategy. So, when it comes to the decision between VTI and VOO, you're essentially deciding between investing in the entire US stock market or concentrating on the top 500 US companies. The primary factor to consider is the level of diversification. VTI offers a broader mix of assets, including mid and small cap stocks, with lower weightings on the top 500 companies. VOO, on the other hand, is heavily focused on those top 500 companies, which typically drive the market's overall performance. Regarding performance, we'll consider historical data from index fund counterparts, VFIAX and VTSAX, which closely represent VOO and VTI respectively. Over the past 2 decades, their returns have been similar. However, in recent years, the S&P 500 VOO counterpart has outperformed the total market index VTI counterpart. This shift could be attributed to companies such as Google and Amazon, which have rapidly ascended to the top in terms of market capitalization. These winners' performances drove the S&P 500's superior performance in recent years. When choosing between VTI and VOO, consider your investment preferences. Would you rather have a diverse mix of stocks or focus on the top 500 US companies that drive market movements? There's no one-size-fits-all answer. It depends on your investment objectives and risk tolerance. Both VTI and VOO have their merits. Now, let's turn our attention to VGT. Vanguard's Information Technology Index ETF has gained immense popularity due to its stellar returns. Over the past decade, it has outperformed other well-known ETFs, including QQQ, SCHG, and even VOO and VTI. A substantial portion of VGT, approximately 45%, is concentrated in three tech giants: Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia. These companies' exceptional performance, particularly Apple and Microsoft, has significantly contributed to VGT's impressive returns. Why aren't Google, Amazon, and Meta, formerly Facebook, part of VGT, you might wonder? The answer lies in their sector classifications. While Google and Meta fall into the communication services category and Amazon belongs to consumer discretionary, VGT is specifically designed for companies officially classified under information technology. Considering VGT's stellar performance, we need to ask ourselves if information technology companies in general will continue to outperform in the future, or whether this outperformance is predominantly attributable to specific companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia. Moreover, will these specific companies continue to outperform? Fund overlap might not have been a significant concern in the past, given the prolonged period of market growth. However, the financial landscape appears to be shifting. Understanding your investments, their overlap, and the factors driving their performance is now more critical than ever. The economic environment has witnessed substantial changes, and it's essential to assess how your assets align with these transformations. You might be tempted to rely on simplified lists of ETFs or stocks. While such content has its place, it often lacks context and nuance. It's essential to remember that the decision to invest is personal and financial. Each dollar you invest represents your hard-earned money, and taking the time to understand your investments can save you from costly mistakes. In an environment with rising interest rates, your investment choices become even more critical. We've shared this chart previously, depicting the relationship between the S&P 500 and the federal funds rate since 1980. It's evident that the past 2 decades have thrived on low interest rates. Only in recent years have interest rates surpassed 5%. If we're approaching a higher for longer interest rate environment, companies that generate substantial cash flow and are less reliant on external funding might have an advantage. In such an environment, investing in existing industry leaders with a track record of financial strength could prove beneficial. In conclusion, it's time to dispel the notion that your investment choices don't require scrutiny. In a dynamic financial world, understanding your assets, their overlap, and their potential alignment with shifting economic conditions can be the key to a resilient investment strategy. Remember that the decisions you make regarding your money can shape your financial future. Keep building your wealth, and we'll be here to provide you with expert insights along the way. Before we conclude, don't forget to hit that like button if you found this video informative, and subscribe to Master Wealth channel for more valuable content on financial independence. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks for joining us today. Financial independence is true freedom, and by continuously building and expanding your knowledge, you're taking steps in the right direction. Until next time, stay informed, and keep stacking those financial wins. Cheers!